Welcome to The Poetry Joint, a podcast about poets, poems, and poetics. My name, Stephen Donahue. I have a scant knowledge of poetry, and that is the starting point for this podcast, to see what I can learn.
There's a light on in the attic. I can see it from the outside, and I know you're on the inside. Looking out.
Exploring good poetry, bad poetry, sonnets, couplets, ballads, rhyme, no rhyme, grand verse, silly verse, concrete poetry, liquid poetry, words with meaning, words without meaning, old poets, young poets, radical poets, ancient poets, contemporary poets, confessional poets.
Angel-headed hipsters, burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo in the machinery of night.
The Poetry Joint. Hang out. See where we go. This episode, this time of year, many return to school or decide they want to take a interesting course in something. Perhaps delve into creative writing or poetry, or just struggle through a language class. May you be blessed with teachers who inspire you. At both Mount Royal and the University of Calgary, there are student clubs that are peer-driven writing groups. Recently, I had a conversation with two people associated with the Write Club at Mount Royal University, Connie and Marcus Madelo. Here's a little bit of that conversation and some of their poetry.
Hi, my name is Connie. I used to go to Mount Royal University. I'm an alumni. I am a poet as well. I was the secretary of the Write Club, a creative writing club.
Hi, my name is Marcus. I'm a 25-year-old Filipino-Canadian poet. I am the current VP of Outreach for Mount Royal's Creative Writing Club.
Why poetry?
I was part of my high school's spoken word team. At that time, I didn't really understand this, what spoken word meant. I just thought it was just here's something you wrote, just read it out to your peers. And my 12th year of high school was still on that team. We won the provincial slam for that year. And then I kind of just realized, maybe expressing yourself, having this resonant reaction of just being vulnerable it's really healing in a way, for sure. Poetry is a very accessible means as to just letting it all out and allowing others to kind of see you for authentically who you are, rather than just the image that we keep trying to place up within public spaces, I guess. So I guess my why is in all of that.
For me, poetry is a way to succinctly express myself through art. I think it's also such an art to be able to express yourself in the simplest terms, with rhythm, with metaphor, simile, and song-like writing. Poetry is a way for us to connect, and it's a way for us to understand one another in a different perspective, and it feels right.
How did Write Club play into that interest in poetry? How did you get started with Write Club?
I was one of the original members of the club, so I was the very first secretary, and Kenneth is the president and founder of the club before he graduated. We actually created a huge group of friends, some really strong bonds between us.
Yeah.
I was kind of skeptical about it, for sure, but at the same time, I was if it's just creative writing class is always fun for me. Sure, I'll show up. There's a lot of different writing styles within one room, so me and Connie are mostly poets. There's people who are working on very long short stories or novels. We would workshop trilogies and spoken word. Specifically articles or anything like that. We really just wanted to push for just writing in general. both me and Connie really owe a lot to Kenneth, because this was obviously his idea. And then once we just stepped in and realized like this is a safe space for us, we put our 110% in. Club meetings are mostly just student run. It's like, the itinerary was mostly like the first half would be a writing exercise, kind of just free form or a writing game. And then the second half would be workshops. So whoever felt comfortable enough to share a piece of work, we would read it out loud, and then we'd like give workshop on it. And we would try to go around the room and see like who has stuff they want to share, or like, and kind of go off that bout. It took a minute to get the ball rolling, but obviously now that like the culture is there, and like we hope that the culture stays within the club, it's just going to continue to be passed on. I think we're on our second wave of alumni leaving. The more writing that comes out from that space, the more people realize like there is a talented group of folk. That message and that kind of atmosphere of creating a safe space for writing can also apply to like outside of the university as well, because we obviously don't restrict. It's a Mount Royal club, but we don't restrict like non-students to come. I've invited visitors before. We've had guest writers and that whole thing.
As the secretary, I ran a lot of events. I put in a lot of work just figuring out like the details for the venue, because there's actually a lot of bureaucracy, even just like getting the bar at MRU to have like events there to host, and then even just getting the dates into planning out the events. I would even start before the school year would start. I did a lot of the grunt work actually as the secretary, so much that Kenneth would actually tell me to calm down. He's like, I told him like, hey, I want to run another event. Let's run like 4 or 5 events this year. And he's like, no, we're not doing that, Connie. That's too much. You're doing too much work.
There'd be a lot of variety in the events too. So some would be like open mics. I think like a tradition for our club is like a typewriter event. So essentially we would borrow typewriters from the English department. Me and Connie have our own personal typewriters, so we would bring those too, and then kind of just sit in like a table in like the main hallway and kind of just type out poems for people who would just be interested. A lot of the times we kind of did it for like charity.
Valentine's Day.
And so using the money we receive from that, we would just exclusively push it into the charity itself, and that felt really like good and wholesome to do, because we were just making stuff. We were making like very intimate like things that people could keep. People remember that connection for sure, and like I think that leaves a good impression of just like of writing itself and like what it can do. Yeah, I always look forward to it. It's like my little like reprieve in the year. Make money or whatever. I'm just there to make stuff, you know.
Poetry. Do you want to read some poetry?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I think the first poem I ever seen was the first poem I ever like seen performed live was a love poem, and so I really do love the format of love poems. I think it's like such an intimate way to address your audience. Sometimes there's just little hints and mentions of the person you're addressing to, but as long as the message just stays concise, they can like impact people in a way. You'll notice in my poetry, I really like alliteration. I think that's just a very strong anchor point. It catches people's attention. Yeah, okay. I have this topic starter. Essentially, if I need just a poem to push out, I kind of just start with like a little starter sentence. It's a little throwback to our writing games. And so the line was, "Is it too silly to say?" And so there's a stanza, and then it's the reaffirmation of the sentence, and it's just like it can go on forever, and that's why I really love that format. Is it too silly to say that in each lifetime I would choose you, to sway in endless circles, to stepping to the beats of deep breaths busting through cinder blocks of skin and creek streams of rivers and arteries and spaces within? Is it too silly to say I prayed often for the opportunity to have our hands hold so tightly that you publish each chapter of lore pressed into my palms, that you stamp the spaces between each letter and have bundled pairs of cherry blossoms and pear saplings pour out of my pores, that syllables inscribe straight into the surface of my skin and have it wear it all out like Sunday daylight? Is it too silly to say that I would choose to sit beside you in traffic? I would choose to stand in line with you at the ER. We could sit in silence, exchanging turns, queuing songs and putting on playlists. We could review memes and shit posts, or simply pass the time together in sync. We could do anything and everything that could quell this thirst to go home, but maybe home is the shared space that we've chosen to have with each other. Is it too silly to say, I saw your most recent Instagram post, immediately screenshot it and sent it to NASA. I said, God damn, did you know there's a galaxy located in the sway of their shoulders? Did you know there are clusters of constellations coded across their hip? Did you know the Aurora Borealis was based off their aura? Did you know my GPS told me how there is sunlight goodness pocketed in your collarbones? Did you know if I could, I would float endlessly in those pools and grow luscious fruits out of the garden embedded in my chest and make it floral decorations for my ancestors high in the heavens? Is it too silly to say, I am excited to buy you a bouquet of flowers for the first time because I want to take a black Sharpie and scribble poems into the petals, because I want to take a Polaroid photo of the fauna covering your face in fluorescent life, because I want to keep that memento in my car, a safe space, maybe in the back of my phone. Is it too silly to say, I think I like you? Thank you.
This is a poem on self-love. My mother once told me, find a rich man who will care for you and love you more than you will ever love him. But years before I was born, my mother married my father, who sank so deep into a waterbed of crown royal dreams. I would watch the wrinkles in their faces become seismic plates and shake. The house would shudder and drop deeper into the dirt as their voices bled deep into the earth. My father's crown royal breath soaked his chest, weighing on each incoming day for a reprieve, for the noise to not haste. But it was never enough, as his chest would be wet for work as he tossed burnt fried rice on the walk. His apron was taken away, and for my father there was no more work for days or months, so my mother would work 2 full-time jobs. She was on fire. My mother was always at work. After work, she would drive me to school and my friend's house and work again. When she picked me up, we would sleep together, her eyes finally tight shut. It's the meditation that sleep brings, breathing in and out. And her eyes would be shut together till another day came. This was her life, only working and working and working, waking to work, working her life away. She left school in grade 3 to be a child laborer, sewing clothes in a Hong Kong factory. So this is why I don't blame her for not being home. I was supposed to live up to the Asian expectation. I was supposed to take algebra in school, but I chose to take drama. She wanted me to be a doctor or businesswoman, be the successful Chinese woman I was supposed to be. I'm supposed to be skinnier, smaller, take away all the fat from my body, every inch, and pinch it all away. I am not small enough. I still keep the clothes I don't fit anymore, hoping maybe one day I'll be thinner, prettier, more elegant, and maybe one day all of the acne will fall off my face. Maybe if I get Botox, my wrinkles will all go away and I'll be flawless, but I'm not flawless. I will never be, but I still am. Just like my mother, finding men who existed as a broken vase, void of water or flowers. I met a blonde man at a party, a frat house of men who didn't go to post-secondary. My eyes were rolling back so far into my head I was euphoric. As I focused my eyes back onto his ocean eyes, I had also noticed the confetti jump around his head. I had felt a whirlpool in the ocean that he had pulled me in, so deep, I couldn't breathe. So the next time I saw him, I brought a Mickey of vodka and we had sex. I fell in love with him, but I fell in love with the wrong guy. We binged Molly and other drugs on weekends, smoking weed day and night. My skin popped with acne. I would look at myself in the mirror and tell myself I was ugly. I pinched the fat of my stomach. I stared at each pimple, watching them stare me back. I had no self-worth, and that is why I let him hurt me and to some degree let my mother control my life. Now, I never became a doctor or businesswoman. I never became the prettiest or health-perfect daughter she had. I was ridden with depression, anxiety, and epilepsy. I was not perfect. But I still spent hours of my waking days, hours not sleeping, worrying about my direction in life. Where do I go? Because people who do drugs because they have no motivations to stop them. and I had nowhere to go, no streets or avenues of goals. It's the same reason I fell in love with the man I was addicted to, but he only loved me in the way that a cyan fire would burn so deep, a trembling fire burning onto my skin. My neck became grapes he could squash for wine, and the whites of my eyes became so red, I thought I was going blind. When I saw the doctors at the hospital, they said I could have died. When they asked who had hurt me, I couldn't tell them. I would have rather died than for him to not love me. I guess this is what my mother meant by finding a guy who loves you more than you love him. Till one day I told him I couldn't be with him. He yanked my hair and hit me with a geode. I pushed him back and I ran into the road screaming for help. A car pulled up. A man smoking a big fat joint asked where I wanted to go, and I told him anywhere. He took me home. Now I have not touched hard drugs in years. I work at Alpha House, helping the houseless, the addicted climb through the trenches. I press their chins upwards to the sun, watching them breathe in and out, in and out, in and out, making sure they're breathing with me, coming with me. And I'm damn sure I'm holding on to their hands, dragging them with me. I have the naloxone needle ready in my hands, and I will inject them on site if they're not breathing with me. I have never overdosed, but I know what it's like to not be able to breathe, to drown in the ocean so deep. But today I have self-worth. Years ago, my mother used to tell me to clean my room so a man would love me. My room had become so cluttered and so haphazardly put together until I told her, I will clean my room for me and not for a man. I will do these things for me and not for a man. I will decorate my room for me and never for a man. I will let the sunlight fall onto my beautifully tanned soft skin and my stomach as I sweep the dust away in my room, letting the bird song reach in, feeling the hum of the heater sing with me, a meditation letting my mind focus on the present and not on a man. Do not get this wrong. My mother is only a victim of the patriarchy. These things she feels towards me are the way society feels towards women. I know she stared at the mirror and felt these things too, disappointed with her years of working. Now she's mostly retired, a national, regional, and provincial pickleball player with a man who now supports her ambitions and loves her. And just like me, she does what she does, not because of a man. We hold her self-worth like a gentle light, so tightly to our chest, and only seeps through the strands of her hair and our eyes. The light sinks off the curve of our backs and at the heel of our shoes, and then back into her chest, and to me, and to you. When we share our light, the curve of our back stays upright, only a gift to those who stay up at night. And here I will say it again, our self-worth is not worth a man. I see art as something to be shared, A lot of the art I make, art that I'm serious about, I want it to be communal or shared with someone. Mm-hmm. I make art specifically for people. I make poems for my friends, for their birthdays, for my partner, letters. I write letters, right? The art of letter writing, I think that's communal as well. A lot of art is made to be expressed in the public at events as well. I want it to be communal. I want it to be shared. And I invite criticism as well. I invite people to tell me what I can do better so it can be better for the public eye. To connect is a beautiful thing. And if a poem is not written in a way where we can truly connect with it, then I feel like if my poetry is not doing that, I need to do a better job.
I guess just circling back to Write Club, sometimes we do just write just to share that with the people who are there. There will be opportunities where people will write silly stories, and it's about the people that are in the room that we've shared those experiences with. Then I think from just that experience as a whole of having a shared safe space, writing is just an act of empathy, especially if it's fantasy work, you're putting yourself into someone's shoes, and that's pretty much just the exact pinpoint of empathy. If I'm writing a personal letter towards someone, I want them to feel every emotion that I have, because that's empathy in itself. I really do think that creating work for the community, whatever your community is, it gives you the opportunity to feel seen, and I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful that is sometimes. Getting the experience of feeling seen and then allowing others to feel seen as well with what they're doing, it allows more fruitful conversation, more fruitful interaction, for sure.
I think we have some time to fit in a little more poetry from Connie and Marcus.
I have a poem. This poem is called A Bouquet of Dried Daisies. This one's about a client that I had a really special relationship with at Alpha House as a caseworker. We connected quite well. We had really good rapport. She was a victim of the residential schools, and she had a lot of trauma. She was very funny, very, very sweet, but she had passed away. The girls that I worked with at that housing building, I worked at a harm reduction housing building at Alpha House, and those girls were really special to me. It's such a vulnerable position to be in, so they share their vulnerable, traumatic stories with me, and I learned so much about their lives, right? I became very close to them in a professional manner. I care about them so much, and I still think about the ones that I don't see anymore. A bouquet of dry daisies. A bouquet of daisies hung upside down in a butterfly knot of twine, crystallizing, dried petals spun to heaven, waving hello, stretching out for oxygen and photosynthesis, for a basket woven for everyone who loved her. Owl salt and pepper shakers were wide-eyed, guarding her dining table, and George Clooney in white underwear sat on the beach on our walls. Her laugh was light, like the wing of a dragonfly, the same way her voice would carry memories. I would be away from work in the forest, and the owls would hoot her name. She was there, somehow. The owls would come to me and mend dandelion wine after prayer for morning brunch. The bees would drip of honey and dance. Then, back to the office and through the hallway, she would scream at the neighbor's boyfriend, who would yell and climb over the fence, too close to her. Soon, she would puke bees after drinking vodka and beer. Her lungs would become brittle, dust-like particles, opiates. On her side table was burnt tinfoil. Her eyes were tiny pine needles that miss, and the wrinkles on her face would become deeper and shake like seismic plates. A fuel had caught on fire. She wanted to burn the residential school that had her. She flamed in a fire she couldn't remember, the cute purse embroidered with the medicine wheel her daughter had bought her. She couldn't remember me either, or the way we joked and laughed till a little bit later, but even then, even when she couldn't remember me, I would call her on the office phone. Those daisies stayed by her window perch. After she was brought to the hospital, after she told me, I don't want to die here, between the white sheets and doctors, and after her eyes hung open like crows. I thought about her and the way she didn't want to die, and the way my coworker said she's in a better place. She was suffering a drowning river. I never told them what she said. Those flowers we told her to hang upside down would stay that way forever, immortalized. Hung up in my mind like her, the way she giggled and cried goodbye before she hung up the hospital phone. I think she knew she was going to die. Thank you.
My first one, it was a little more light. I want to take this opportunity to do something a little bit more serious. This is a poem. It's called Dear Ryle. Ryle was the one who gave me the inspiration to write this poem. So think of it as like an open letter just to him, or to anyone, I guess. Dear Ryle, I, who was socialized into a man, do not allow my anger to be unleashed through my fists. I simply cope by straining my wrists and flexing my fingertips into Corinthian arches. My forearms brace themselves into Tuscan columns, and I scratch and chafe and etch corn mazes against the circumference of my eczema skin. I have seen in numerous films and mainstream media my fellow men and their forefathers turn strangers' noses into Rufus fountains. Crimson cascades in a sudden flash. I have seen multiple movies where shirtless men stain their skin with the blood of their enemies. Masculinity is defined by how long the barrel of their metal is, by how quick a bullet can decapitate and demolish the flesh of fellow humans. I wonder often if they are truly hunting enthusiasts or bounty hunters. I have seen the way shame shakes my shoulders and makes me shiver, the way it makes me stutter my words and shudder into my chalice shell. I have seen the way my guilt makes my ego guard my heart from being held accountable. I have seen my insecurity cause me to second-guess myself and back down from being seen. I remember how my childhood trauma consists of my teeth transforming into theater seats for treading tears and silent sobs. I have seen the jawline sharpen through jagged grinding of incisors. In certain instances, I catch my tongue wanting to tease out these cracked lips and swing its rattle. Last night, I repeated the same mantra in my mental space, asking the Lord, or any Filipino deity, or my Lola and Lola from past lifetimes to help me comprehend or properly pronounce my suppressed emotions in steady and concise paragraphs, instead of a gaping roar, instead of pocketing myself into the shell of my painted husk, instead of allowing depression to pickpocket my happiness and install a jailbreak version of someone else's smile onto my cheeks. Recently, I checked how much patience I have left, scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I know we'll have to continue to produce tenfolds, and so I look onto the role model men and the world leaders who mold my world around their incentives and materialistic hoarding. By spending millions on firearms and underground military bases and anti-immigration raids, my tax dollars probably pay for wars in third world countries. My social media data is probably being used to figure out an algorithm to colonize the Philippines for a fifth time. My tuition for university is probably going to be used to sign up to be a 52nd state. And so therefore, I guess my eczema is a manifestation of how I will always be stressed and uncomfortable in my own skin. Sometimes I tell myself that I am fed up, I am uncomfortable, and I cannot keep it under control. But the only thing I know how to do is to suppress my emotions into a panopticon inside my chest, a federal prison for my passions to decompose, in concretes where my demons have been placed under lockdown to free roam and sleep on wooden ramps, while the blind crows and suffocating fishes and toothless alligators exchange a laughing moment, all with an eye, the kaiju's stomach. Thank you.
Any other comments on what you've learned from Write Club and writing poetry?
Write Club helped me prepare me for the world. It really did. And Marcus and I are both very involved with the community, and that extends beyond Write Club. And I think Write Club actually helped us learn how to do that. And it is quite a beautiful thing because when I first started at Write Club, I didn't expect to host events that would invite people outside of the university to come to Westgate Social and read out poetry, listen to poetry, just have people, strangers, just come and listen to poetry. We hosted poetry slams and open mics and all the sorts. And it brought people together. And I had a huge involvement. I was, for a lot of the events, I was the main facilitator. I created a lot of the events. Write Club really taught me how to be assertive and how to just do the simple things, like just emailing out to strangers about, hey, this is what I want to do. How can we work on making this happen? It taught me how to be confident in doing that. I felt just being in the Write Club space, the higher power being art and the meaning of art. And we were all so passionate about creating art and expressing ourselves and connecting. It's foundational to what we are as people. Just people who need to express, who need to be connected. Art helps us do that.
I think just having those connections will be something you stand on. Those connections will always be there if you ever need support. I think there are a lot of people who just go from they do their years of university without touching a club and without making meaningful connections, and kind of just push through it, go straight into the workforce or something, and kind of just dedicate their whole life into it. But these student clubs are very important because you can meet people who you connect with, not mostly just because you're coworkers or whatever. It's because you guys share a hobby that's very very like intimate between the two. You two like share something very powerful. Yeah, I owe a lot to Red Club, I guess. And then I do also want to say like Red Club is a good place for just opportunity in the sense of like publishing as well. We've released our second like student anthology. It's just a whole project of just dedicated people accepting submissions and also doing the editing and then doing the format. We go reach out to local artists to kind of have like a book cover and like have the art be there. Just experiencing that as well is kind of just a stepping stone, just like seeing what is the process in getting published.
This has been the Poetry Joint. Thank you to Marcus and Connie for their contributions. Back again in a month's time with another episode. Thank you for listening. Connie, Marcus, any favorite poets you enjoy reading?
I personally love Margaret Atwood. I think she is just so fun with her imagery and her just way of writing. It's fun, it's beautiful. She always just brings unique images and ideas together. I really love T.S. Eliot.
I watched a lot of poets probably on YouTube. There's a lot of like old school Def Jam poetry like just there up on YouTube, and so you could just play it. I would just kind of have that in the background. But poets specifically, I would really like to mention Micheline Mailer. She was the poet laureate of the city. She was actually one of our teachers back in MRU. Very value like my perspective and understanding through poetry through her. Wakefield Brewster, I like his stuff a lot. I'm gonna shout out my friend Tola. Her name is A Lot of Poetry. She's on her rise and she's really cool. Gail, I really like Rudy Francisco. A lot of his style is very, very like open letter monologue to like an individual. I really like Jericho Brown as well. Jericho Brown was really cool, and seeing him perform live with like his voice and like his just like confidence, it was really captivating. And I was just like, dang, there's like really good poetry out in the world.
I want to say I love Jericho Brown too. He absolutely blew me away, and the way he's able to just mix forms together, different forms of poetry together, traditional forms, and make it into his own, and just the way he mixes truth and rhythm, it's phenomenal.
Hi, I'm Jericho Brown, and this is my poem, Labor. Labor. I spent what light Saturday sent sweating, and learned to cuss cutting grass for women kind enough to say they couldn't tell the damn difference between their mowed lawns and their vacuumed carpets just before handing over a $5 bill rolled tighter than a joint and asking me in to change a few light bulbs. I called those women old because they wouldn't move out of a chair without my help or walk without a hand at the base of their backs. I called them old, and they must have been. They're all dead now, dead and in the earth I once tended. The loneliest people have the earth to love, and not one friend their own age, only mothers to baby them and big sisters to boss them around, women they want to please and pray for the chance to say please to. I don't do that kind of work anymore. My job is to look at the childhood I hated and say, I once had something to do with my hands.